What's up, you guys? So listen, I just got through paying $14 to see A Wrinkle in Time in IMAX. So I made a resolution, a New Year's resolution for myself. My goal was to support more black film, art, creators, like all of that stuff. So I'm like, okay, I went to see Black Panther 3 times. I already pre-ordered it on iTunes or whatever, so I'm good. Like, next up, Wrinkle in Time. So, spoilers. If you haven't seen A Wrinkle in Time, if you haven't seen A Wrinkle in Time yet, stop the video right now. Go watch the movie first, because I'm about to spoil, like, I'm about to walk through this shit, okay? Alright. So, A Wrinkle in Time is a Disney movie made by director Ava DuVernay, and stars like Oprah, Reese Witherspoon, Mindy Kaling, like all these big names. And then Chris Pine, Star Trek guy. But the premise is just so freaking weird to me. So the premise of the movie is the white dad, Chris Pine, played by Chris Pine. He's like this super smart ass scientist who works for NASA. He's married to this half black, half white, light skinned girl. I don't know, whatever. And they have a child, and they adopt a child, and then shortly after he goes missing. Fast forward to the future or present time, he has been missing for 4 years. No one knows where he's been. No one knows what the hell is going on at this point. And before the fast forward, they show like kind of like a flashback of like the little girl, the lead, who's played by insert name here. And she's playing with her dad as a child. He's teaching her all these scientific things like ionizing, chemistry, and physics, and all this crazy stuff. Fast forward to him being missing for 4 years. No one knows where the hell he's been or where he's at. Her little adopted brother, who we found out was adopted because I thought the mom was pregnant, which kind of confused me in the first 10 minutes. I didn't know what's going on. So their little adopted brother, Charles Williams or Charles Walsh or something. He has like 3 first names. It's really stupid. So he's like a super brainiac kid, and he goes to the same school that's like split by a gate between him and his older sister. His older sister's being bullied by some white girl named Veronica, and like a whole different fuck. So the girl, the light-skinned protagonist, Meg Murray, it's a stupid ass name, played by Storm Reed. She's like being bullied. Ooh, excuse me. She's being bullied. She's like, why am I so gassy? She's being bullied by this white girl named Veronica and these whole other girls, and like it just so happens to be like the 4-year anniversary of her dad going missing. And everybody's talking shit about Storm Reed, Meg Murray, and her younger adopted brother, Charles Wallace, Chris Paul, I don't know. So yeah, so sad ass day. Little girl comes home to her light-skinned mama, and light-skinned mama's like, oh my god, how dare you like punch Veronica in the face because you like, she was talking shit about you, girl. Like, people gonna talk shit about you, whatever. And then the little girl was like, well, my dad always said I should stand up for myself. And the mama was like, bitch, how dare you? This is the anniversary of him dying and you gonna do this? You don't get to use him like that? No. Like, check yourself. Crazy. So while they upstairs talking, like, while they going back and forth, little Chris Wallace is downstairs talking to somebody, inviting them into the house and shit. And we're just like, who is these strangers? Because we only know these 3 characters right now. Like, what's going on? So the mom and the sister, they hear it and they're just like, who the fuck is in the house? I don't know who the fuck is in the house. So they both run downstairs and they see like Chris Wallace or Charles Wallace laughing and giggling with this random ass white woman, red-haired white woman. Like, what the fuck going on? Turns out the woman was Reese Witherspoon. Her character is Mrs. Whatsits. And I was just thrown back by like, the mom was just so calm. Like, first she's just like, okay, you need to leave up at my house. Mom, do you need me to call 911? The little boy Chris Wallace, he's just like, this is like my friend. Like, we've known each other for a while. Like, Chris, how? Like, you're only 6. Charles was like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So they've gotten comfortable with the fact that Mrs. Watts is in their house, like just walking on furniture and shit, playing with random like items around the house, like comfortable. So Mrs. Whatsits is just like, my name is Mrs. Whatsits, and I'm not Mrs. Which or Mrs. When, where, how, or who. I'm Mrs. Whatsits. I was like, alright, cool. So she like walks up real close like to the mom, and she's like, the Tesseract is real. And I'm just like, what the fuck is she talking about? I'm like, the Tesseract? Like the Tesseract from Marvel? Like from Thor? That Tesseract? That? Okay, cool. That's what's up. Yeah, so me, the little girl in the movie, Meg, and this random ass white boy. Oh wait, no, the white boy comes later. I'm gonna get to him. Me, Meg, and look, Charles Wallace. Somebody look up that man's name for me, please, because I still don't know the little boy's name. We're all confused, like, what the hell was she talking about? Mom, what is the Tesseract? So the mom like breaks it down, like the Tesseract is some type of way to transport from like one universe to the next, and like that. And they do like this flashback when the dad was alive, and they show like them both at NASA presenting and giving out the concept and stuff, and then he like tells them like, you just have to like align the frequencies and you can travel with your mind. And everyone's just like, this nigga is tripping. This nigga's tripping. Like, this nigga is out of it. Like, and he's like presenting in front of like almost like United Nations type shit, like different countries and leaders and stuff, and they're just like, who the fuck is this? Y'all paying him for this? You fired. So yeah, they all look at him like he crazy. The wife is like embarrassed. She was just like, nigga, you did not tell me we was gonna do this today. I thought we was talking about in the future. So she felt left out. So they get home, they arguing or whatever. He's just like, why do I have to like wait on the rest of the world to catch up and get on my like wavelengths of like thinking and shit? I'm just like, girl, whatever. So Mrs. Whatsits decides to just randomly leave because she likes to run in the rain. So it was no dramatic effect. So Mrs. Whatsits was just like, it looked like the home invader, like a child, a very impressionable child bringing home this random ass white woman in this white gown, and it's like, hey, she know our names because you told her your names. Why did you do that? I feel like this generation has changed with all the social media. Like our parents always says, like, parents would tell us like, don't get in the car with strangers and like all that stuff, and then we have like Uber and Lyft and stuff, which is pretty much the same thing. And then like, don't talk to strangers or people you don't know, and then it's like all these random like catfish and random like people you've never met before. I'm like choking right now because I did a bong hit and I hit that bitch way too hard. I'm kind of embarrassed. Anyway, so fast forward to the next day. White girl's walking the dog. Random ass white boy who I guess she went to school with hasn't been introduced any other time in the show, in the movie. He was just like, I felt compelled to be here. He was like, he kept saying like, I like your hair. I like your hair. Like, that is so creepy and has like those undertones of like white men always trying to walk up to black women, and that's like their first compliment. They're just like something physical, just like, ooh, I like your hair. It's just so different. Like, it's so exotic. Like, the fuck. But then the little brother, Charles Wallace. I really pray it's Charles Wallace, y'all. I just saw this movie like 4 hours ago, and I don't remember this little boy's name. He's like a main character. So what happens next? So Charles Wallace like tells them, hey, you're all here, let's go to here now. And he like runs across the street to this abandoned ass house, like it looked like the house from like what is that movie that everyone loves during Halloween with those 3 witches? I put a spell on Hocus Pocus. Whew, it took me a while, but I got there. So yeah, the house looks like the shit from Hocus Pocus. So they get into, so he opens up the door and it's just like, it's really beautiful inside. It's like a vine of flowers and stuff. And you see Mindy Kaling sitting there with her glasses reading. No, she wasn't even reading. She was like sewing something. It's like a room full of books and knowledge and shit. So they go in, introduce themselves. It's very awkward, kind of weird. I don't know why. Like the little white boy kept like throwing me off for some reason. I don't know. I feel like the whole time I was watching, I'm like, well, maybe he's like in on it. but like unaware it was gonna be like a plot twist and he's like evil or something at the end. None of that shit happened. So they walk up to Miss Wynn. No, what was her name? Yeah, I think it was Mrs. Wynn. So go up to Mrs. Wynn, and apparently Mrs. Wynn's character like talks in like Bitcoin. That's what she talks in, like air quotes, or like she just quotes random people instead of just saying what she wants to say or has to say, because I guess she's like, she grew bored of using her own words. I don't know. I just felt like Mrs. Wynn, please tell me that's her name, Mrs. Wynn for Mindy Kaling, they could have switched the roles between her and Reese Witherspoon. Like that would have, because Mindy Kaling's like characteristics and like the character for Mrs. Whatsis was just so like kind of loopy and fun and like smart, you know, smart aleck things to say and like snatchy comebacks and shit like that. But I just didn't see it for Reese Witherspoon. I'm so sorry. I feel like the casting was kind of off. Like it was just like kind of, I don't know. They played not Scrabble. They was playing like Boggle or some shit. Like I was like, we're gonna pick these random ass people to be these characters, and we're just gonna shake this thing up, and wherever that shit lands, that's who we casting as what character. Like that's how they did it. So obviously the last one, which is, damn it, it's Oprah's character. Hopefully Oprah's character isn't Mrs. Wynn. No, Mrs. Witch. Her name is Mrs. Witch, and she's supposed to be like billions upon billions of billions years old, and like it's like the grandmaster of the three, which, you know, dope. Oprah was looking out for her part. I ain't even mad at it. If I'm gonna be in your movie, girl, or I'm gonna sponsor your shit, I'm gonna be the star. So they go to this random, so they learn how to bend time and space, because Mrs. Whatsit shows up and Mrs. Wynn shows up, like all in their backyard, like the little girl, the little brother, and the white boy who's like never left for some reason. They're all in the backyard, and like they learn how to transport through like bend and space and time and shit, and they all have to line up their frequencies and stuff. So they like started doing that, but I think right before that happened is when Oprah just appeared. Like Oprah appeared like 80 feet tall for no reason. Like she was like this tall, huge, beautifully glamazoned, like futuristic, but I got like some rubies and pearls and shit. Like, and then she like towards the end of like the bottom part of her body was kind of like faded away, so she kind of like to hover like a, I don't know, some queen ghost shit. But they was like, girl, why you not like normal size like the rest of us? Like we're legit human size. She was like, she said some shit along the lines of like, what's wrong? Is there any wrong with my size? Or like, it was something like very kind of like inspirational. Like, is there such thing as the wrong size? Or some shit like that. I mean, yeah, bitch, you're like obvious taller than the fucking house right now. Anyway, love Oprah. Sometimes. She appears and she's like, alright, girl, your daddy's still alive. Okay, so 1, your dad is still alive. 2, we need to save his ass. 3, you might have to be involved in saving and or battling whatever we gotta fight to save his ass. And she was like, my daddy alive? After all these years. Damn. Let's save him. So they bend time and space. They end up in like New Zealand, which I guess is a new planet. I don't know. It looked like New Zealand, but with like an exploded cradle marker, like spattered all over the place. So they're running down the hill, blah blah blah. I'm really mad that Mindy Kaling's character only speaks in quotes. Like she quoting Gandhi and like John Lennon and shit, and I'm just like, girl, you. And that's all she did that shit like maybe 4 or 5 times in the movie. And those were like her only lines. The other time she was just standing there quiet, or she's like running with the children, or she's just like quiet watching Oprah like run shit and Reese Witherspoon get her little snaps in. I'm just like, who casted this? Call me. Let's talk. I just want to talk. So, yeah. they're trying to like track the father's steps, like where he was last, and that was one of the first places he went when he tessered. And tessered, short for tesseract, is like the way that you like bend, not time and build time and space and go to the other universes and shit. So you be able to like transport from one universe to the other. So, oh my god, I can't wait to get to this part. So they start talking to flowers and shit. That's not important. But they decide to go to a seer who like can see like the future and like, you know, moments in time. Not as good as the seer from like The Matrix, but you know, you get the premise. Anyway, so the seer is apparently cute, and I guess the boyfriend of Reese Witherspoon's character, Mrs. Whatsits. So they go on this like, they test her to his little realm or whatever, and then Oprah and the little girl have a talk about how she need to be brave and like love herself more. Like, girl, stop talking shit about yourself. You're not ugly. You not like pasty or like some kind of freak, blah blah blah. Or, like, you're not a nerd. Like, you should, you know, be a strong little girl and, you know, fight back. Be brave. So they get to the seer's cave, and they all balancing on these little quirky little seesaw rocks, whatever. And the guy comes down, the seer, and it's fucking Zach Galifianakis. The nigga from The Hangover. Like, bruh, what? Who casted this fucking movie? Like, this shit's bothering me. So Zach Galifianakis comes down, dressed like an earthbender. Don't know why. And he has like this braided cornrow wig. It's like, you know how girls get cornrow braids, but they like be the cute little spirals and shit. He had that in a wig, and it had a bun, bitch. It had a fucking bun. The fuck? Like, it had a fucking bun. Like, he had his shit braided and in a bun, like he was in the episode of Living Single, bitch. I just don't understand. Fuck, okay. So anyway, he helped that bitch tell the future or see the future. So anyway, he helped the girl like see the future and stuff, and realized that like her dad was on this badass planet that's like pure evil and all black. We're gonna call it Alcatraz because I have no idea what the name of it is right now. Somebody fact check me later on the name of the super evil planet from A Wrinkle in Time. I've never read the books. I've heard there's 5. 5 too many for me. I'm so sorry. So they go to Alcatraz, or they realize that he's in Alcatraz, and it's like, oh my god, he's in Alcatraz? Fuck, that's like all of the darkness that could ever be. Like, what? So Mrs. Witch, at this point, Mrs. Witch was human size. Normal human sized person. Don't know why she couldn't do that sooner. I literally thought she was gonna be this huge ass walking Macy's Day Parade like the whole movie, but it was only like a third. Like, you know, she checked herself before she wrecked herself. So they realize they have to go to Alcatraz, and Alcatraz is super dark, and Mrs. Whatsits, Witch, and Win. See, Mindy Kaling, I can't even remember your character's name because you should have been Mrs. Whatsits. Like, that's all I'm saying. Anyway, so they can't travel there because no light exists there. They can only travel where there's light. Oprah's words, not mine. They end up accidentally traveling to Alcatraz because, like, the Wheel of Meg, still a terrible name for, like, if you're gonna... I'm actually tired of seeing movies with light-skinned protagonists, and then like they throw in like the little white boyfriend or something and shit in there. It's old and tired, and I'm annoyed with it. Like, let the brown-skinned, dark-skinned people shine. Like, how's that so hard? Anyway, whatever. But I said I was gonna support the movie anyway, so that's what I'm doing. Blah. I already spent that $14. IMAX. Yeah. I ain't mad or nothing. I'm just, you know. That was I ain't get $14 worth of movie. That's all. I'm like Julie's right now from Everybody Hates Chris. $14? I ain't get $14 worth of movie. Y'all need to run that back and show me some deleted scenes, bitch. You owe me about at least $9 more. Okay. Anyway, so they accidentally traveled to Alcatraz, the dark evil place, and It was like the will of the light-skinned girl that like willed them there. But like Mrs. Whatsis, Mrs. Witch, and Mrs. Wynn started fading away. It's like, girl, we can't exist here because there's nothing but darkness. And we're slowly fading away. So what we're going to do, we're going to leave you with some gifts. I mean, we left you with this white boy. We left you with your little brother. But we're going to give you some actual gifts. Kind of, but not really. Mrs. Wynn gave her some glasses so she could see the truth. Mrs. Whatsits gave her constructive criticism as a gift. She was like, something like, I hate all your faults or something. Oh, she said your best quality, your best trait is your faults. And the girl's like, you know, my faults are like things I do very badly, like my bad habits. She's like, yeah, I know. Whatever. And then Mrs. Oprah, Mrs. Oprah gave her the gift of command. Stay together. Don't fall for no lies and no tricksters, and something else, I don't know. Where are we? Okay, so the three Mrs. fade away, and they're like on the planet in the middle of that cornfield or the wheat field or whatever, and they like instantly get separated. Like this entire forest comes out of nowhere, CGI as fuck. Like it just shoots up out the ground and separates 2 out of 3 of them. Like Meg and we're gonna call the white boy Edward because I have no idea what his name was. he kind of looked like Edward from Twilight, so let's go with that. So Edward and Meg were like separated from Charles Wallace because that's the best way, you know, the best way to break them is to separate them. That's how you do that. So this like tornadoes started appearing, and they took so long to realize what was coming to it. Like it looked like a tsunami of like storm clouds and like sand and shit was coming like straight towards them. And I swear I don't know if it was the camera angle or the way like they were just standing there, or like the way they was angled or something, but it just looked like the storm clouds are right here. And at this point it was when we want to be like, you know what, bitch, we should run. We should run fast. And that's what started happening. So I don't know, it was weird. And then the ground started turning into a tornado and shooting shit across the wall. And then you could hear like Mrs. Witch and Mrs. West go towards the wall, get over the wall. I'm like, how can you hear them if they like don't exist here in this planet realm? Like, I don't know. I think the little girl might have been schizophrenic. That was my partake for the movie without without reading the book. I'm like, maybe she's just schizophrenic and it was all in her head. I don't know. So what happens next? So they get an idea and they shoot across the wall. She like jumps into a tree trunk and it just picks them up and shoots them across the wall. I thought I was gonna kill him. I thought that was the purpose. You chasing after me. Don't you want to kill me, or you trying to help me? It was weird. They reunite with Chris Wallace. 2 first names. Why? 3 first names, because this is Chris Wallace Murray. White people, why do you do that? God. Fuck. Okay. They go into a neighborhood. They see Melly from Scandal, and they're just like, girl, what are you doing? Like, what is this? It's like a neighborhood and all these little badass kids are like bouncing the basketball at the same time. Some of them kids was like this. They was like, ha, ha, like hard as hell. Like, damn, like, did y'all not like do rehearsals for this shit? Like, why is he pressing shit on? Anyway, they decided not to go and stay with Melly because Melly was part of the badness, the evil, the it. I feel like this movie could have like just been a remake of The Never Ending Story. Like, if anyone's ever seen The Never Ending Story, one of my favorite movies, by the way, if I can remember everybody's name. The main character was like Bastian. Love the name, don't know why. His name was Bastian, and he had to save like Fantasia from the nothing, and the nothing was just like emptiness, and it just kept trying to destroy Fantasia. Like 3 separate movies. And then they had Falcor shit. So yeah, damn, I want to watch The Never Ending Story now. Okay, so we got to get back to this movie. They only went to like, they started tracking their father down, and they only went to like that one other world, Alcatraz. Like, they already knew what his trail was. So he was stuck in Alcatraz. He was trapped. They go to this, like, beach world. Because the world with Melly fades away and it turns into a beach world. And it's, like, a clear-ass, wide path on the beach. And then, like, to the left is, like, everyone's just, like, crunched up together under all these different umbrellas and stuff. And then, I think it's... the dude that was in Next Friday that was, like, 20s and 50s. Or these titties.
Get
in between those titties. Like, that guy was in the Disney movie. He came a long way, though. I think he's in fucking, the Ant-Man movie. I think that was him. And probably Ant-Man and the Wasp. So he in the Marvel Universe, y'all. Look, check out the... So, they had him in, like, these random-ass costume, contact lenses that I actually almost ordered my damn self when I was trying to do cosplay for, Gambit from X-Men. Hopefully that's still coming. Fingers crossed, stay tuned. So he had them eating random food off like this picnic he had, like picnic spread he made for them. And they started eating. Everybody said Meg. Meg was like, girl, I'm not about to eat that. Stranger danger. Like, why y'all two not listening? So Edward, remember Edward? Edward was still there. Edward was still there through all of this. He's just, I don't know what maybe he was just like they needed 3 people. So Edward started eating, chowing down. My nigga was starving. Charles Wallace starts eating, and he's like, this tastes like sand. And he's like, what? Try mine. He was like, all of this is sand. So all of that was actually sand. It was like, I guess some mirage type stuff. So they snatched the dude from Next Friday. He snatches the little brother up, and he's like all of a sudden evil now. The little brother is evil as Chris Paul. Why would you do that? Chris Paul, why are you so evil? Like, what the fuck? Chris Paul evil as shit now. And they go chasing after him, and then they go into like this other random world. It's like a solid room. Kind of reminds me of that movie, The Cube. Creeps me out. So it was in this solid room, and then like dude from Next Friday was hanging from like puppet strings, and Charles Wallace was just like running shit. Like, this boy's like 5-6 years old. He's just like, I'm evil now, and I'm here to destroy him and then take you, because we need your light. Your light is what's battling the darkness, and I am the darkness. Let's feed off you. Okay. So they didn't go into like no battle in that thing. Like, the puppet kind of just fell apart, and Charles Wallace was like in charge of stuff. And she decides to pull out Mindy Kaling's like little Google glasses that she gave her to see the truth. And she started seeing like formulas and like calculations and shit. And like she just randomly took a step, and like it became like a stairway, and then like into like this hallway cube. And then she finds her dad. Her dad is like in this random ass like Kid Cudi music video type box, and he's just like in the fetal position, like scared as shit. He's just tired. I think he believes that he's only been there for 30 minutes, but he's just tired. So they reunite, they touch. He's like, who are you? Oh snap, my little girl, I made you. So they reunite. He's very happy. How long have I been gone? 4 years. And I'm like tearing up now. I'm Meg's character, and I'm like, how dare you? 4 years is how long you've been gone. You gotta make the ugly face. So they get ready to escape. They about to go battle the hell out of Charles Wallace right now, because he's evil as hell. Charles Wallace like, we don't even want you no more. Like, the dad, we don't even want you no more. Like, we want your light, her light now, not his. So it gets to the point where they're like getting dragged down this long dark hallway by Charles Wallace. Like, Charles Wallace is running shit now. Like, he's like, I'm about to mutilate y'all. So they like all just like being dragged and dragged. Like, the graphics are trash. The way they're like moving down the hallway is like, it looks like an episode of Charmed. I don't know what's going on. People are fading back in and out of focus and shit. But they like knock out Meg. Like, Charles Wallace knocked her out or something. Like, she just like went comatose from screaming so much. I think she like screamed herself to sleep. So she knocks herself out, and the dad's like trying to wake her up, we gotta stop him, blah, blah, blah. Please don't take her, don't take her. So she wakes up and like kind of stops the darkness, but she like, this is where it gets weird, because she like, I guess she uses the Tesseract power, or she used like her own willpower or something, and like she like breaks free from Charles Wallace, and the dad, plot twist, like Mug, the dad is like, let's leave him. He is my adopted son. I love him, but we can come back for him. Like, we'll just come back for him. And Meg, like, after just being reunited for her dad for like a total of like 4.5 minutes, she's just like, nigga, what? How could you say that? Who tells their daughter that after they've been missing for 4 years? Leave that little nigga alone. He was adopted. Evil as hell. Okay. So after that, the dad and Edward, because Edward kind of disappeared a minute ago, but Edward disappeared and the dad just disappears, and it's just like Charles Wallace and Meg Murray they're like in the heart of Alcatraz now. They're like in the brain. It's like super darkness. It kind of looks like the Upside Down. I don't know if they was in the same studio, but it kind of looked like the Upside Down from Stranger Things. So they're battling it out in the Upside Down, and they're like going back and forth about like, hey, like, people in the real world don't love you. I can make you better than you were before. They have like this like Beyonce Pepsi commercial thing where it's just like Meg Murray like as her like nerdy character, and then like what she could be, like Temptation from the evil Alcatraz planet thing. It was like a hologram of her, like silk laid press bitch. Yes, I mean, she had like the little autograph crop top. She had like shoulders partially out. She looked grown. Like that, I think the Upside Down was trying to like, hey, I can make you look grown, girl, if you just, you know, stay here forever, or, you know, and accept me and accept the darkness. The shit was weird. She's like, girl, I don't want to look like that. No. And I was just like, oh, okay. So after that, what happens next? So they're battling it out, right? And it's just like, I love you, Charles Wallace, and I will always love you. I will love you unconditionally. Even when you don't like me, I'm gonna love you anyway. Because love is the motherfucking answer. And that like halfway works. He's just like, oh my God, she loves me. My sister loves me. And then she calls him by like, meanwhile, Charles Wallace is like slanging the hell out of her. He has like these little tentacle branches things that he's controlling, and he's like picking her up and like shaking that bitch up, like tossing her around the plane. It's like a game of Smash Brothers. Like, she being tossed, juggling that bitch in the air. That was a good action scene though. I will give them that. And then she calls him by his like nickname, like her little personal sweet nickname, like, come on, Biscuits, and like, I love you, Biscuits. And she's like, no, she loves me and she called me by my pet nickname that we have for each other because we love each other. Biscuits. Biscuits. And then they break free from that. And Charles Wallace is like, his light is back. Mrs. Witch, Mrs. Whatsis, and Miss Wynn come back and like appear like, you did it. You defeated the darkness. How about a high five? All right. So they flip through time and space because it's time for her to officially do it by her damn self, like flipping through to test her. So she's trying to test her, and she tests them back to home. Back to the backyard. And by them, I mean her and her little brother, because we don't know where the hell Edward and her dad went. No clue. So I'm assuming since she like defeated the darkness, like it just like spit them up, coughed them out, because they were like already in the backyard waiting for them when they like tested and came back, and I was just like, how? So they like reunite, hug, and they all go into the kitchen because mom is apparently home. Don't know the time span of how long it's been, or like if the moms even noticed if they were gone, but whatever. So they all get into the kitchen. The daughter's like, you're not dreaming, you're not dreaming. And that's when like Chris Pine walks in and is just like, wife, I'm sorry I'm late, but here I am. And the movie, that's it. That is the end of the movie. That is A Wrinkle in Wrinkle in Time. Wrinkle in Time. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully I saved you between $9 and $14 as well, because I saw it in 2D and paid $14. So if you want to see it in 3D, just go watch The Never Ending Story. That was actually a bomb-ass 80s movie. That's like, that should be in the cult classic list if it's been slept on. Yeah. Peace.